Okay, this is a blog entry, and it's going to be highlighting the key aspects for games-based approach to coaching. The first point I really want to make about it is that it's fun. Everyone can get involved, no matter what their sort of skill level. You can easily put on, say, if a game of football, you can put on almost everyone who is at your lesson. Well, apart from if there's too many, you could also put on different levels of player on the pitch at the same time. I think this is actually a very good way of coaching, as say a person who's very poor at football might be able to see how one person plays and develop their own skills through that. There's no waiting around whilst you're playing a game, unlike a drill where you might dribble a ball around a few cones and then shoot at a goal or a basketball hoop or something like that, and then you go back to the back of the queue and wait for your turn, and in 2 minutes you'll be doing the exact same thing again. A game is always changing. There's no definite right or wrong, success, failure. If you do something wrong on a football pitch, it's not like you're standing around, everyone's staring at you. Say your pass gets intercepted, you straight away you go either back to the man you're supposed to be marking, or even try and regain possession of the ball. Unlike, say, in a passing drill, you're trying to pass to one person who will then pass back to you. If you if you mishit the ball, say you're a beginner, or the ball goes in an angle that will not get to the partner and the partner has to run for it, it's very obvious, can be sometimes quite embarrassing for say a child who might be very inexperienced and a bit nervous. It's very unlike a drill, and like I say, it's fun for everyone. If you're coaching children, kids will hear mainly in a sentence, game. They like to play games, and if they're not having fun, they won't carry on with the sport. And essentially, that is one of the main things that you need to be worried about. If they're not going to carry on, they're not going to come back to your coaching session. So the second point I want to make is very good at developing situation awareness. There are certain drills that can help with gaining situation awareness. However, in my experience, that they're never as good as an actual game. It will allow the student to pick up on their own experiences. They might see someone who does a certain skill to get around a player, or constantly uses a dream team of, say, 2 players who always pass to each other to get around someone. Hopefully they will then develop their own game to counter this. They might even pick up that skill and try to learn it, and it will hopefully develop their own skills and their thinking. Actually, they're not being told to do this. They will hopefully pick it up, and sometimes if it's not actually if they're not picking it up, or they're not having a go, you could almost set them the task at half time. You could say, right, I want you to have a go at that. Have you seen how he does this? Is there anything you could do to stop them? How do you think that would work? And essentially you're getting them to be creative, which I will talk about further on along this video. Another thing that it's really good at is it's not like an isolated practice. They'll find themselves in a foreign environment if you constantly give them drills. All of a sudden it comes to Sunday, game day, little Johnny's on the pitch, and all of a sudden he's not used to being like this. He's used to having some cones to dribble around, and then he turns around and does it again just with his left foot. That's not at all how a game works. Yes, these are skills that he needs to work on, that will come in use to him during the game. However, if he's not used to a game, he's not gonna gonna be able to execute those skills to his effectiveness. Yeah. So a drill is very different to physically playing in a game. And isolated practice can sometimes be more of a hindrance than a help, I feel. I'm now going to talk about creativity. I feel that this games-based practice is extremely good for developing a creative player. If you look further back on my blog posts, I have done one about creativity and about how hard it is to get a player and how to become creative, and there's no definitive way to create a creative player. Games-based approach can be an extremely effective way for them to get thinking now. I've already said how they might see another player do something and have a go at themselves. However, I'm going to touch on now the how limiting drills can be to them. Drills will just get them thinking that, what do I do in practice once they have the ball in the game? And they think, well, coach always gets me to pass, so what I will do, I will pass to my mate over there. And this might not even be the correct thing to do. There might be a ton of space for him to dribble through and to get a good amount of yards up the pitch before he could pass. He might even be able to dribble around a player, maybe use a skill, cross it in if he's blocked in a corner. There's a lot of things that could be done that he might be discarding because all he knows are a certain few drills. I've been doing some reading and I've come across an article here. It's about some Ethiopian children. It was sort of an experiment. A company left, I think it was 1,000 tablets. It says here that they left the boxes in a village. It was closed, it was taped shut. There was no instructions on no human being. They thought the kids would just play with the boxes, but within 4 minutes, one kid had not only opened the box, but found an on-off switch. This child had never seen an on-off switch in his life before, but he managed to power it up. Within 5 days, they were using 47 different apps, and within 2 weeks, they were singing ABC songs in English, none of them knowing English before in their lives. Within 5 months, they had hacked Android. Someone in their media lab had disabled the cameras. They had recognised there was a camera in it and hacked into it to allow them to use this camera. To me, this is a very good example of how learning through doing is a great tool for a coach. These children weren't given any lessons in this is how to use your tablet, just like the equivalent to passing in football. They learnt, got curious, and evolved their own skill base, to be honest. That is, I think, where I'm going to end my my blog here. I hope this found some useful, interesting, and I will probably upload another blog sometime soon.